All right, have and have not fans. Hope everyone's doing well. I got a list of about almost, but not quite 10 videos, but I'll only do this one for now. Like I said, I'm kind of liking the whole not that many shows to review because I can spread the videos out. So I'll drop this little tidbit for you right now. Then I'll probably do the other stuff later this week or next week. But I think one of the main things is the fact that, well, I feel like the majority of people who are showing outpouring support for the show ending. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and act like I feel like I love the show now as much as I did during the first few years. I'm not going to say that, but it's kind of interesting how how this works out, because this reminds me of the fan base as soon as it was announced If Loving You Is Wrong was preparing to air the final season. I was hearing so many cries of no, please God, no. But when the show was on the air, even though I didn't watch it religiously at the time, it was not uncommon to see people complaining about the pacing, certain characters being annoying, disappearing characters, things like that. It's almost as if, what's the old saying? You don't miss the well till the water runs dry. That's literally how I feel about these Tyler Perry shows that have been announced that they're coming to an end. Well, in this particular case, the haves and the have-nots. But this video isn't to give false hope, but just to kind of talk about potential. Potential. So before going further in this particular potential subject video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, click the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel, and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Basically, this is just talking about the idea of maybe a spinoff. Look, I've done plenty of spinoff videos in the past, mainly the Malone focused spinoff, because honestly, I don't know why, but that video is still getting good traction. I'm not saying that it's like a 100,000 view video, but then again, I did like a 3-part Malone spinoff video, and all I know is every now and then I'll see that video being rotated on Twitter. Heck, one of the cast members from the Malone group recently retweeted it. So I don't know, maybe that's one thing I am kind of happy about with the show coming to a close, and there are repeating episodes on OWN possibly every Tuesday from now until when the show comes back. A lot of my older videos are getting attention. Like, hell, some of my Jennifer Salison videos are being retweeted, and my God, those like 2016, 2017 videos back when I first started, and it sucks watching that stuff now, the sound quality and whatnot, but apparently I was doing something right, because those videos helped birth what I do now. But the Veronica spinoff can, only happen if, Veronica's still alive. And to be completely honest, I have no doubt in my mind that Veronica will live. And I've said this plenty of times before. The moment we saw Laura being selected as the maid to work at Veronica's house, and then her being given clothes and shoes and wigs and taking care of errands in Veronica's car around town, we all got the idea that, yep, Laura's being groomed to be Veronica's scapegoat, basically going to be killed by one of the many different factions that are coming for her life. That way Veronica can possibly go into hiding, because that's honestly the only way to make sense of that. It's like Veronica is like a public figure. She's known around town, if not the entire country, especially for her lawyer abilities. If Veronica Harrington is reported dead in Savannah, Veronica Harrington can no longer live in Savannah. It just wouldn't make sense for her to still be in the same house and, just going about her daily life like nothing's happened. This ain't like The Flash, when Harrison Wells was killed at the end of season 1, aka Eobard Thawne, and then in season 2 it's like Harry Wells couldn't just walk around town without being recognized, like, you're the guy that killed Barry Allen's mom. They work their way around that in future seasons. But the same thing is true of Veronica. She's a half. People know who she is. So the hood, obviously like Jim and stuff like that. I think that if Laura does end up dying, Veronica is, done for as, Veronica. However, I think there are many different reasons Veronica would survive by letting Laura take the fall, and then she would just start somewhere else from scratch. She would just go about starting a new life, new identity. Comic book fans will know The Dark Knight Returns, when Batman, quote unquote, died during his fight with Superman. And then at his funeral, it was reported on the news like, Bruce Wayne, revealed to be Batman, died on the scene of a heart attack. And all of a sudden, his mansion exploded. All of his accounts had been drained dry. His stock information, all that was gone. Obviously, it was filtered to other accounts. So when Bruce Wayne, quote unquote, died, he still had access to his fortune. So the same thing with Veronica. I feel like if Laura is dead and reported to be her, she would just go about starting a new life. And I think one of the biggest things I think she'll do is, when you think about it this way, and I feel like those who, like myself, are in student loan debt can attest to this, you can't really outrun the debt. I feel like it's not, I don't think it's an accident that we're really bringing up the fact that Veronica is in debt. I mean, she's living it up, but at the same time, she has less money than Hannah. Even before she became executor. Sure, she had that bed full of money and stuff like that, but in terms of debt, she's broke. The houses, the cars, the facilities. Catherine's, like she said, one phone call and she could just destroy Veronica's life financially. Well, basically her life in general, because we all know Veronica is about the image. So I think with her taking whatever money she has and splits town, she'll just start over, do whatever she has to do. So I think a spin-off series for Veronica could work in an interesting context. Put it this way. Is Veronica a strong enough character to warrant her own show? I think the easy answer, especially amongst fans, is a yes. But for me, I would say no. Only due to the fact that I feel like if you look at Veronica now, she definitely isn't the same Veronica from the first couple of seasons of the show. I think what makes Veronica stand out is the cast she's able to interact with. Like, I don't feel like any one particular character on this show is strong enough to carry a show on its back. I just feel like the haves and the have-nots, back when the cast was manageable, before we got like 5,000 different characters, what made the show great during the first few seasons, I'll give it that, first few seasons, is the fact that the characters bounced off each other. Sure, maybe not every single character interacted with every other single character, but like Amanda interacting with Jeffrey and Candace was great, or Jim interacting with David, Veronica, that was great too. Hannah, being the fish out of water, interacting with these rich folks, it was great. Even, down to like Warlock, Quincy, Oscar, just to name a few. When it comes to Veronica, however, an entire show based around her antics, I don't think would work unless you had the right cast to accompany her. So if Veronica survives the final season, because Laura ends up being killed instead of her, then she obviously can't interact with her castmates. Unless, of course, you could do something like Veronica pulling the strings from behind the scenes from whatever location she's in. It's like, oh yeah, I might be quote unquote dead, but I'm still running your life, Jeffrey. I'm still going to make life for you hell, David. That seems a little boring to me. I mean, this could go back to what I was saying years ago, especially during the cliffhanger, the Veronica show, when Melissa and Veronica were in that car accident. I was like, it would be really ballsy of Tyler Perry to kill Veronica, because of the fact that he could really amp up the writing and show, even though Veronica is dead, she's still making hell for everybody from beyond the grave. What about those puzzle pieces? There are 8 episodes left. Aren't Jim and David going to find those judges who have all those puzzle pieces that Veronica left with them? That way, if anything happens to her, she'll be able to ruin the lives of Catherine, Jim, and David. I doubt we're going to get any kind of follow-up on that, because, again, there's only 8 episodes left. So I think a Veronica spinoff will be interesting. Like, the more I watch The Oval, the more I'd love to see her interact with Victoria, for example. But I feel like everybody and their mother says the same thing. I mean, we don't... Obviously, the continuity and time frame of what's going on now in the haves and the have-nots is clearly not that of The Oval. Wouldn't it be kind of interesting if, let's say, Veronica and Victoria met up, but it was a Victoria prior to the events of going into the White House. So, for example, we know that David and Jim are running for the governor's mansion. Well, on the Oval, we know that Hunter was governor. He was, what was he? Correct me if I'm wrong, he was mayor and governor before the president of the White House. So it would be interesting if, let's say, Veronica and Victoria, contacted each other, because let's say with Veronica on the run, she knows Victoria's a person who's discreet. So it'll be like, hey, can I stay with you for a little while, so they can kind of link up for a little bit. Maybe they had a past together in terms of, being black women who came up in life. They pretty, like, I wouldn't call them friends, but they have a mutual respect for each other's grind, so to speak. So it would just be kind of interesting, is like, talk about my bastard husband cheating on me, and then Veronica says the same thing. Oh, honey, have you tried, having him shot? What about the other whores that he was sleeping with? I made sure they were dead. So it would be interesting to have almost, and I think people have said this before, have like a little special where the ladies of mainly the ladies, like characters from various Tyler Perry shows, kind of come together in like a bar or something and just exchange stories. I mean, that's almost as good. That's like a hell of a way to do flashback episodes where Tyler Perry could just reuse footage and at the same time really establish connections between characters. So I'd love to see Veronica talking with like Victoria, or hell, let me see what other shows. Nah, Sisters is too far off. I don't think that would work. Even though Danny and Veronica, I think, will get along. Yeah, and maybe some love interest. Maybe we'll see Veronica parents. I don't know. Well, the one that's still alive, the mother. But yeah, that's really all I have for this video. I'd say that a lot of people are demanding a spinoff because they don't want the haves and the have-nots to end, despite the fact that it is indeed ending. So if there was a Veronica spinoff, what would you want it to look like? What kind of characters would you like to still be in the show? Would you want some have and have not characters to be in the show, or would you want some new characters altogether? Hell, what if Veronica hooked up with the Malones to go underground? It's just so many ways this could turn out. I do think a Veronica show would bring in viewers, but I would hope it's done right. But I'd rather it not happen if it pretty much just takes the character and runs her into the ground, which, to be honest, I feel like the haves and have-nots has done for years, but that's just my opinion. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.